Morning, YouTube. Today we're going to be working on a 2020 KTM 790 Adventure. And a gentleman is going down to Baja with it. And he wants me to do an oil and filter change, adjust the chain in the rear, and then also lube the chain. So luckily, this bike is heavy. Luckily, we have the spindles in the rear, so I'm going to use my paddock stand, and that's how we're going to do the chain adjustment and the lubing of the chain. And the oil is interesting. It uses a canister filter, and a canister filter all the way up in there. You can see that. So I'm going to have to take off the skid plate. And I'm hoping I can get around the highway bars, but I might have to take off the highway bars. But anyhow, that's where we are. So I'm going to start taking off the skid plate and get the oil change done first, and then we'll do the chain. I'll be back. Okay, highway bars are off and skid plate is off. And I'm going to go through what you got to. This is a different skid plate than some of them have. It's got this extra piece up front. So, and the plastic shrouds come off, or rubberized. They're kind of like a rubberized plastic shroud. They come off with it. Okay, so this is your hardware. There's 4 8mm bolts. Those are up right here under your foot peg. Okay, 2 on each side. Then you've got these 2, and those go in. So here's the 2 spots, the 4 of them right here on the back. Those other two go right here, and they're up underneath on the frame. I can show you. Let me see if I can. Right here, they go into those mounting brackets right there with bushings, and then. These are all 8mm. Everything is 8mm. These 2 go up into these. I don't know if you can see that. And that comes through these here. So on the outside, through there. And that goes into, hello, where are you? Where are you? Right here. So up in there. And then finally, there's 4 long bolts with bushings. These 4 here, the bushings, there's a washer, a lock washer, and the head, and then the bushing and a washer. That goes between, right here, between these areas. So that black bushing and the washer goes between there and the frame right here. Okay, so that's taking this off. Then the highway bars, we've got 12mm in the back. This is the long bolts at 13mm, and there's a big long bushing. This is on the left side. Okay, so over here, 13mm goes up here. 12mm goes back here, and that's it. That whole thing comes off. That has to come off before you can take the, if you have highway bars. The highway bars need to come off before you can take off the skid plate, because it kind of wraps around it. Okay, and then on this side, same thing, bracket back here. Now you're gonna have to use a ratcheting box wrench if you wanna get it done quickly. So here's the tools that I used. Ratcheting box wrench, 12mm. Okay, 8mm socket on a impact driver, and then you got your 3/8 whenever you need to use a 3/8, and then a 13mm 1/2 inch, same thing, and that's for the top bolts. Okay, and you can only get in there. I don't think I had this on. I had that on for something else. You need to just use the socket and the ratchet, because you have to get up behind the highway bars to get in there. Okay, so next step is doing the oil. I'll be right back. Okay, so as far as the oil change goes, so you have these two drain plugs, and this is on the left side. This is your gear shift. It's on the left side of the bike. There's two separate sumps. And then this is where your filter is. This is a canister filter. So these are 8mm. I've already loosened them. This is 13mm, 1/2 inch. And you just pull them out. And they have a screen on them. All right? So we're gonna clean these. I'm gonna put them over here. Let them drain out completely. Have the bike tilted on an angle a little bit. So the plastic tube, and then you have a metal strainer at the end. So we're gonna clean these with brake clean, and then clean up the bolts. There's O-rings that you can buy a kit, and it comes with new O-rings. But the customer just bought a new oil filter, no O-rings. So you can see the O-rings right there. And the screens just get cleaned. So we're still draining. And in here, let me open this up. Like I said, 8mm. 8mm. All right, I can't do it by hand. I gotta get like a pick to get behind there because it's got a rubber gasket on it too. So just let it drain real good, and then I'll show you how to put everything back in. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're still draining. Make sure you clean the surfaces around the drain holes and the surfaces. You know, take a paper towel and put a little brake cleaner on it and just clean around there. Clean up everything. Okay, I've cleaned the screens, and I've cleaned the heads, and I've cleaned the gaskets. So these are ready to go back in. Just take some brake cleaner, you know, regular brake cleaner, and just spray them down, and then let them dry off. They're very delicate. The screens are very delicate. So this is your canister filter. Okay, it goes in one way. If you look at the new one, there's a rubber gasket and a port. That goes in. And then this is the same as that. You see? So it has to go in one way. Put a little fresh oil on that to make a good seal. And the same thing with these. Put a little fresh oil on those gaskets. And then I'm gonna clean up around there, and we're gonna put everything back together again. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. Real quick housekeeping. So we got the drain plugs in there. I haven't snugged them up yet. I haven't torqued them down. This is the oil that came out. You can see, definitely needed an oil change. These are done to 14.8 foot-pounds. The cover is done to 4.4 foot-pounds. I've got the filter in, but I haven't put the cover back on yet. Okay, 14.8 for both of these. 4.4, and we're putting in 2.8 liters. This is the oil we're using. Oops, let me get this out of the way so you can see it. So it's KTM Power Synthetic SAE 10 weight 50, and you're going to need 4 liters. So this is what? This is 1 liter. Yeah, this is 1 liter. So we need 2.8, so we're going to almost use all 3. And then the oil filter is model 613-380-15200. 613-380-15200. All right, I'm going to button it up, and I'm going to start filling the oil. Okay, so my digital torque wrench does not go below 5 foot-pounds. So it's asking for 4.4. So we're close enough. One thing you need to make sure you do is when you're snugging it up, snug the one, not all the way, and then snug the other one. Go back and forth until you get a good seal, and then torque it down to the final torque. And these, again, these are 14.8 So we'll do that after this. Be right back. Okay, so here we go for the 2 drain plugs, 14.8 foot-pounds. Okay, same thing, just cinch them up and then wait for the beep and then double check, beep again. Okay, and then we're gonna fill the oil in, and then I'm gonna clean the chain and adjust the chain tension next. Okay, so we're all torqued up. We put in the fresh oil. The oil fill is right here. And if you can see, it's a pain in the ass to get to. So you need one of these. This nice, it'll fit in there good. And you'll just have a little bit of purchase inside the lip, but that's all you need just to pour it in there. All right, and as you can see, we're perfect. We're at 2.8 liters in there, fresh oil. You can see nice and clean, and you can see through it. Again, get something like this. You can get them at Walmart for $2 or $3, or AutoZone or O'Reilly. All right. Once you put the oil in, I put 2.6 liters in. I started the bike, let it run for about 30 seconds to fill the oil filter up with oil, and then top it off and make sure you're about in the middle like that. All right. So that's it for the oil service. We're gonna do the chain next. Okay, YouTube, I ran into some major issues putting the this skid plate is a pain in the ass, and putting these highway bars back on. So literally about 2 hours messing around with that stuff. So I just did the adjusted the rear chain real quick, and cleaned the chain and then lubed the chain. So I'll just describe it real quick what you need. Okay, so on the one side is just an adjustment block, and the axle comes through. So you don't have a nut and a bolt. It's just a nut on this side, and this is a 32 millimeter, okay? So loosen that up. Then this is 12 millimeter, the stopping nut, and this is 10 millimeter. All right, and then you just adjust this out. If you need to adjust this out, we'll say 5 turns, 7 turns. Come around to the other side. Adjust this one out, same thing, 5 turns or 7 turns, whatever it is. And then if you have a paddock stand and you have it up, spin the tire, and then watch the tire as it spins. And if it's straight, if it's not wobbling on you, then you're good. And just come out till you have about an inch or so deflection. Let me see. I got about an inch deflection on the chain now, okay? And then what I did was I used brake clean. You spin the tire, and you just I use brake clean on the chain and clean all the oil and shit off. And then I just sprayed it with chain oil. As you can see now, I got chain oil on my fingers. So it's nice and lubed up. It's running smooth, and that's about it. So that's how you do the chain adjustment and clean the chain. And like I said, if you have one of these, it's a pain in the ass to get this skid plate on. Well, to get it off was easy. To get it back on was not easy at all. All right, Mike Machines out.